it's more me actually talking about how it came to be this comic than, or rather how this page came to be, rather than actually drawing it, because I have already drawn it, hence why we're gonna be finishing it up today. Nonetheless, welcome to the stream, Rego and Oni. How are you guys doing today? Oni, you said a Doug. You lewd when you're depressed. And you said that it's getting out a little out of hand, your depression. Yes, it is. Getting way too out of hand. Like, dog damn. Why even? Nonetheless. Rego, you said that we love the lewd boy. We do love the lewd boy, but he could be less lewd. And I think everybody would benefit from less lewdness. And also, Rego, you ask, how did you sleep? Or rather, did you sleep well, Doug? Yes, I think I did. That is a weird thing, in fact. I have noticed that as of late, I have been sleeping extremely well. I have no idea why. I just am, apparently. Sleeping well, that is. Let me resize up this page a little bit. Have it in a good enough size. And Rega, you said that you're okay, you just feel a bit horrible lately. Why? Why do you feel so horribly bad, Rego? So, let's talk a little bit here. Let's hide up these colors and talk. As you guys may have noticed, I am going to be working on this new comic, the Interdictor, and I have been trying to define how the first page is gonna be. And there's many things the first page of a comic can be. Normally it can already start in an action set piece, it can start up in the middle of the comic, and then you say, wait, let's back up, and then you back up a little bit and start explaining things that already happened. Or, you know, depending on the type of comic you're doing, the type of story you're telling, there's an infinite number of places you can begin telling said story. So the thing I'm gonna be doing here in this comic is, you know, since this comic is, you know, it's more or less a furry comic, but it is also targeted to non-furries, I want to introduce them to the concept of quote-unquote anthropomorphic characters. So the idea is that I'm gonna ease in and explain to them how about this whole universe where there's no humans, there's dog people. I mean, there are humans, but that's a spoiler. So I want to introduce them to the dog people, starting up with the second page. But in the first page I want to have a establishing shot where it tells a lot of information without we actually having to talk about it. These informations are the fact that, you know, whoever these are, they have a train, but you can see it's a steam engine. It's not a new millennium kind of train with all those fancy shenanigans. It's a very old train if you look at it. It's a 19th century train pretty much. The train tracks as well, they're pretty. You can see it's still wood planks instead of being like concrete blocks. So that already gives you an idea of where they are in a technological sense. And then we're gonna have the city here in the distance, and this train going through to the city, pretty much. And also the sky is all black and white because my idea with this comic is to make it black and white. And this is where I left off. I was trying to color up this thing. And Neku, you say meow th. I don't know what th means, but anyway, welcome to the stream, Neku. How are you doing today? And on you said, thank dog, you're no longer stream boss. You're free. Rego, you said it feels like you're not really the kindest person recently for some reason. How do you mean not the kindest? Not really the kindest. Have you been mean to someone? Or have you not been paying a whole lot of attention to your friends or other things? And Neki, you say you're here since the start, but you like to be lurking. Why? Why lurk if you can interact? Why? Anyway, this comic page here, as you can see, it is a God damn this thing. For some unfathomable reason, there's a little thing on my screen that it's kind of right in the middle of where I'm gonna draw, but anyway. Oh, anyway. For some unfathomable reason, I had decided to start up the comic this way, with this angle. But then I thought, hey, maybe drawing a train is gonna be a whole lot of work, and this scene would benefit from seeing everything from above. Hence, instead of doing this angle for the train thing, I decided to go and do this, which I had already finished, which is the same thing except that we're seeing it from above. So the train is going there through the tracks in and into the city down here, and as you can see, everything looks better because it's already colored and there's a cliff here on the side and whatnot, and it looks dope in my opinion. But you know, considering the size of this page, this train is barely gonna be visible, and even if you are able to see it, you will not be able to infer that this is a steam train of sorts. You'll be like, ah, it's a train, but it could be anything really. So even though we're still establishing the shot, we cannot get this whole perspective on the technology that we can with this page here, with this angle rather. So I decided to go and pursue this angle, and this has been tricky because, you know, initially I thought, hey, maybe let's just throw in a perspective ruler over there and go for broke with the perspective, which does work a little bit. But you know, perspective is tricky, especially when you have things as organic as, you know, cities and whatnot. Not everything follows a perspective, a vanishing point, so you have to be slightly creative. And what I did to get around this was model part of the city on Blender, and then I used Blender to more or less get the hang of this thing and do it. And I'm gonna show it to you guys how it looks. Rego, you said that nah, we haven't been mean to anyone. You don't think you just get like this some days. Only has been noticed by his senpai. And only you say you're not trying to chill from being lewd. And you boys are starting to be slightly lewd. Cut it out. Oh, and you said do it like Sin City. It's all monochrome, but it has dabs of red to make something pop. Yeah, I had the same idea actually. Well, my idea was to make it monochrome for many reasons, but every now and then there will be highlights in some colors. And Rega, you ask if we're being lewd. No, we're not being lewd. In fact, we're not ever gonna be lewd ever again. So let me display here my second monitor. Why not? So this is Blender displaying in my second monitor. This is the scene that I have built up for this. So the gist here is that I have created this block here, used some sculpting to, you know, throw some details on the environment, just to make something very basic environmental wise. Then I made an object, a very long object that works as the train tracks. And the idea for this one is quite ingenious. I just made a little block here. I extruded it like so to make the middle a little bit lower than the rest. Of course, mesh wise this is horrible, but who cares. And then I kept extruding, but with every extrusion I kept like rotating it a little bit. That's why it is in a straight line. It kind of wobbles left and right and up and down. And then extruding little by little, I could make an entire train track that feels realistic. Of course, it ends here. Then over here, what I did also was I got a little block. This is a little more ingenious. This is a little bit more ingenious, I think, because in here what I did was draw just a single plane. There's nothing here. It's just a flat surface, and then I got into edit mode. I subdivided it into a just very small segments, and then once I had every single segment here, I did the bevel. The bevel theoretically does the same thing as the inset, but it didn't work in this case. And the idea with the bevel is that I can make a smaller kind of like subdivision here, something kind of like this here. And then I switched to face selection, and then I could select any face I wanted and extrude it upwards and make any sort of buildings. So this is what I did. I subdivided this whole thing, made a lot of made one single bevel on it, made a bevel with the whole thing, making very small little segments, which I defined as streets, and these big chunky blocks I decided to make them as, you know, actual blocks in the city. And then I kept extruding them manually, each one at an individual height. This took about 10 minutes to do. It does not take that long. And for a few couple selected buildings here in the center, I chose the middle face. I used the inset to make a small, you know, small inset in here, kind of like the bevel. The bevel is like outwards and the inset is inwards. And then I extruded it in a way that makes it looks a little bit more unique compared to its sibling buildings, which is just a block. These have a little bit more definition going on with them. And then after extruding a lot of them, they were an object, which I could simply let there in the distance. And lastly, I got another block, a big old chunky block, and started sculpting some things to resemble a mountain, and that's it. So These have like shitty detail going on in them, but anyway, they look like mountain, and that's all they need to do. And then I set up a camera here. So if we look at this scene from the camera's perspective, we can see we can see here the train, if it does follow a perspective. The train tracks doesn't, though. It kind of goes all wobbly around, but that's the idea. And the city there, it also has a perspective of its own, but instead of, you know, making it straight, I did the whole thing and then rotated it a little bit. That's so it kind of looks a little bit to the side, and so we get a little bit more interesting details on that city. And then we have our delicious scene here with the train on the left, the city on the background, and some landscape action going on. And this whole thing was incredibly easy and fast to do. It did not take a whole lot of time. It was pretty dang easy and fast. Of course, though, even though I built this whole thing in Blender, I can't use Blender. I have to just get this and send it to use this as a basis, pretty much. So this is how it would look rendered. Of course, so we don't do it like so. Oh yeah, the train. Yeah, I forgot to talk about the train. The train is a little bit more ingenious. What I did was just throw in a cube here. I extended it a little bit. Then I drew pretty much this, well, whatever this is that they have in front of some trains. Then I threw in a cylinder here to be the steam engine, another upright cylinder here to be kind of like the roof, another block down here which is gonna be the housing where the train drivers are, and a couple short cylinders here to act as wheels. And you can see I didn't do the left side of the train because we're not gonna be seeing it. We're just gonna be seeing the scene from the right side of the train, not the left. So the left doesn't need all that many details at all. And there we have it, a train. So then after I was done, I got this whole scene here, took a picture, a screenshot, and then I got here into Clip Studio, and I threw it in here on the sketch layer. I stretched it a little bit so it fit the idea that I had for the page, and then I started drawing. So if I take out the colors, you can see that the basis is the same. I'm using the placement for the wheels for this little block here. You can see the block ends here, but I extended a little bit further. I decided to go with my own design. These blocks were here mostly that so I could find the vanishing point for the perspective. After that was found, I was pretty much free to do whatever. And here for this big train engine cylinder, I also threw in some rivets and some little details here and there. That's just, For the train tracks, they don't really follow a perspective, so the train tracks here, these little wood planks, I was following the perspective until more or less around here. Then I kind of said fuck it and started going my own way with it. And this grill here on the front, I kind of did my own thing. I don't know how one of these are. We don't have train like that over here. And that's it. For the wheels though, it was kind of a little bit fucked up, because I got a lot of pictures of old trains and started studying how the heck does this thing look like in real life, and I made my own schematics to try and find out how those wheels are connected. So every single wheel here is connected in a weird sort of way. Some trains, the center of the wheel is not really in the center, it's kind of offset because of how the spinning motion goes. So like this, they're not in the center, they're offset a little bit. And this was kind of interesting also to learn. but it took me a while to figure this out. And after I was done with this, I ended up doing some sketches and throwing it here, so I don't even know what these things do or if they work, but anyway, here they are. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little explanation about how I did this whole thing. But anyway, what have you guys been saying? Rega, you said have very important scenes have dual colors, and Oni, you say, to be honest, you hate having lewd dreams now. It feels so good, God, and weird that it makes you wake up to go pee, but you're so cozy in bed that you don't want to get up since it's cold. 104 suggests just being bad, Oni. Also, hello there, 104. How are you doing today? And also, welcome to the stream, Bones and Marcus. How are you guys doing as well? And Oni said no, your bed has a warming feature, you don't want to break your bed. And also, welcome to the stream, Rain Shep. How are you doing? It is in this Friday morning. And Bones will say also morning. And one of us I never make it straight, only gay. And Oni said it's not like you like her or anything back. And Bones says only please. And Oni also said I'll aboard the pain train, next destination, your crippling depression. Oh boy. And 104 says I'd wanna help Douglas's spin grow. Nah, I don't think I need help with that. Also, today we're doing the opposite day. It's instead of being Lewd Friday, it's gonna be non-Lewd Friday, so cut down the lewdness. And 104 says, you're a bit meh, thanks for streaming so you have something to focus on. Oh sure, don't worry. And then thank you for being here. And Marcus will say hi, Douglas and Shat. And Rego, you're back, your doggos need love. 104 said, well, show us it growing then, Douglas. No, I will not do that. And Rego says that Doug has his line to do that. How shatty you guys are today. It is non-lewd Friday morning. Also, Bones do support that, so there you have it. It's non Friday, non-lewd Friday. But anyway, now that I have talked a little bit about this page, in the end, like I explained, I decided to go with this lateral scene rather than go with this shot from above. But I will be posting both versions on Patreon nonetheless, because I threw in some effort in this one and I don't want it to go to waste. But now it's time to color this. And when I say color, imagine gigantic quote-unquotes around the word color. So normally when working, on a comic book page, on one of my previous pages, what I would do is color everything on the same layer and have one layer for the color and one layer for the shading. Since here we have so many things going on at different levels of depth, I'm gonna have different layers. So there's one layer only for the background, hence the sky. There's another layer just for the ground, for the foreground, which is the ground here, and then the city there in the back, and another layer just for the train. And the idea is that the train is gonna have more contrasting tones, so the difference between black and white is gonna be very visible in the foreground. Here it will be very accentuated, but not so much here in the back. And the sky is gonna, I think this looks alright-ish, the way it is. No need to change that. And 104 says, oh, Douglas is a bit pause. You thought it said 1,000 like some binary thing. Maybe it is, who knows? Who knows binary? Sure, go ahead and so you can figure that one out. So we do have a little problem here, is that I don't know exactly where the light source is, because Blender has some sort of universal lighting that dog only knows where it comes from. So it could be anywhere, really. So what I'm gonna do is color these buildings, kinda like I did with the previous page. And the way that I do that is that I have this marker brush thing that it is pretty much a black brush. That's all it does. It applies black in this kind of slanted orientation. It's not a round brush, it's kind of a flat brush, and it applies black color to whatever surface I'm aiming it at. The difference with this delicious brush here, though, is that it has no... oh, damn. The difference with this brush here is that it has is that its opacity settings is at 20%, or Clip Studio doesn't use this percentage, it just says 20, but it is 20%. So what it is doing is applying 20% black and 80% transparency, some weird mathematics like that. So the gist of it is that every time I throw in more color on a certain location, it kind of grows a little bit darker as it goes, but it's almost impossible to reach true black just by doing several passes, because theoretically with every pass it's adding 20% black and 20% plus 20% plus 20%. Theoretically it's never ever gonna add up to 100. So you're gonna get something that is really close to black but not necessarily black. So it's a weird brush nonetheless. But it's amazing for this kind of thing because I don't need to have a color wheel open and manually keep changing and choosing colors left and right. I can use this one brush with this one setting and just go around nuts, throwing ink everywhere, kinda like a Splatoon. And only you say, yeah Doug, look over, he said, you know what? Fuck that loot boy only, I wanna make some decrees and be boss. What? Ah, I see. You have a little problem with punctuation, there's you said, yeah, Doug took over, he said, you know what? Fuck that loot boy only, I wanna make some decree and be boss. Yeah, that's more or less what happened. I decided, you know what? Only you have been boss for long enough. It's time I took over and make some decrees and decided it's time to be no loot. But anyway, it really surprised me how usable Blender was in making this whole scene come together. I don't know if you guys are familiar, there's this guy on the furry fandom called Corvus Pointer. Maybe some of you have heard of him. He is doing this sci-fi comic called Lions of Cosma, and I think he's also making a comic called Star Trek Beta Fleet. I think it's Star Trek. One or the other, he's making that. And he does uses a lot of Blender in his work. He from what I have heard and seen him do, most, if not all, of his backgrounds are done in Blender. So he goes to Blender, models up the entire background, and then renders it and throws it into the comic, and then he draws the character manually. But his work actually benefits from it a little bit, because first of all, he knows how to use Blender. So he doesn't just use it as a basis for he doesn't use it as a basis and then draws over like I did here. He actually draws the whole thing on with Blender, renders it on Blender, and then throws it in there. But it looks good. It looks realistic-ish. Kinda, not gonna say it looks amazing, because whenever you do a comic and you have 3D backgrounds but 2D characters, you will see some discrepancy between the characters and the background. It's like the background has no line work, no distinctive features that will straight up tell you this has been drawn by hand. It doesn't have that, so you can tell the background is kinda odd. But other than that, I think it looks pretty good. And then because of that, I imagine he also spent a lot of time on Blender, modeling and then editing his scenes. So I suppose he spends quite a bit of time on that. Not gonna say that's a bad thing, but I can't say that it's not viable for me, because it would require me to learn a lot of Blender, because I don't know anything about Blender. I know how to make the very basic things on Blender, but not, high level shenanigans. So for me right now, I don't think it is a very interesting thing to put Blender into my workflow, but it is interesting to use it as sort of a tool for getting the hang of certain more iffy situations. And one of us says, well, 1,000, or rather 10 million 1,000 is 136 in decimal, or 88 in hex. But in binary, it is what? And also, Onyu said, Doug, he beat you with a belt for being a boss for too long. Doug is broken. Please nerf his belt. Oh boy. And one of us says, yes, Star Trek Beta Fleet. You thought you said Bell first, which felt pretty random. What? Oh, nerf his my bell. Hell yeah. And also, yeah, Only thanks for reminding us, the song request shenanigan is open if you're a patron or a subwoofer. Feel free to request songs and enjoy the morning. And one of us says you read it as 10001000. And if you say so, one out of possible 4, I guess you are right. Nonetheless, in the future I would like to learn more Blender and get a hang of how to do those fancy schmancy Blender things with Blender. For now I'm afraid I'm gonna stick to using it just to make blocks, building blocks for these things. And there's this what's it called? This guy, one of the many people who have been involved in working on industry comics for too long. One of them is Paulo Rivera, and he has a blog. I don't know what its name, so I'm sorry, I won't be able to redirect you guys over there. But he has this blog where he posts the Wacky Wednesdays, I guess, or Wacky Reference Wednesdays, I don't know. But it's this little segment where every Wednesday or whenever, he posts a picture of one of his works, like, this latest page for this latest comic I'm working on. And with that, he also goes and throws in a little reference picture of how he got that pose and that look and that everything. And normally it's a picture of him posing up in this very, like, I got this pose by posing like so and taking photos, and I got this other pose by like this pose with a caped character who is wearing a cape. To make it happen, I had to go and look in my old things box, find a random cape or a towel that I could use as a cape, dress it up somehow, and see how it falls down and how it wrinkles around and everything else. That's so I can use it on my comics. And he has a lot of those going on, and those are amazing for learning.
Only used Bork, it wasn't very effective, only gave up and quit.
Oh no. That's the kind of stuff I would expect to hear in a Pokemon game with the sense of humor of Shin Megami Tensei. But don't give up, Oni. Giving up is too bad. But yeah, as I was saying, Paulo Rivera, I think he worked on Hellboy, perhaps, not sure. I think he also worked on Spider-Man and some other things. The fun thing is that this work he did for this one random Spider-Man comic he worked at, which one I don't remember, is that apparently a lot of artists have been working on this Spider-Man comic, and some artists quit, and then a new artist came in, and when Paulo Rivera's time came and he started working on this comic, on this Spider-Man comic, the previous artist was like, hey, so you're gonna be drawing Peter Parker's apartment and you need to get the layout of it right, because it has a layout, so you have to get it right. So here, have the 3D file for the layout of the apartment, and then he goes and gives Paulo Rivera the 3D file of Peter Parker's apartment. But it was done on Google. Well, I would say Google. It's not by Google anymore. By SketchUp. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but SketchUp is a 3D modeling software for architecture purposes, I believe. Because if you're gonna use SketchUp for building, for making buildings, you could not ask for a better program. It's amazing. If you're gonna use a SketchUp for trying to make 3D model a car, for example, well, you're in for a whole world of pain, my friend. Because that thing is not malleable at all. It's awful for modeling anything that isn't a straight building. And by straight I mean a building that is very blocky. Even if you try to make those architectural buildings that has weird curves here and there, or diagonal rooms and whatnot, you're gonna have a bad time unless you learn how to tame that wild program. It's wacky. And next you're gonna lurk. Why? Why lurk if you can be with us? A range shop, you say 10,011,001. What do you mean by that, range shop? And Bone says insert Pokemon media here. Well then, I was not planning on doing that today with my day, but sure, why not? Pokemon, there you have it. Music. What do you friggin' know? You delicious pepperinos and pipettes. I have music and I'm gonna throw it in. Because fuck it. Where is it now though? God damn it. Add to QE, move to top. I don't know which song Oni requested, but it broke the thing, so it's not playing. Let's go to the next one. There you have it, Pokemon music. Hope you're happy. And Onyu said, you know what, you had some dumb idea. If it's 4K for art, why not make it half of the cost for a profile picture / icon? You know what, Oni, you're onto something. You're definitely onto something. And also, hello there, Kaze. You said, hello, I'm here. So what is this, a study? No. This is the first page of my new comic, The Interdictor, which I have been hinting and talking about forever. Except that this time around, I'm really starting it up. And I also have decided that this comic will be monochrome, or it will be in black and white. For two reasons. First, I think that if a comic is black and white, I'll be able to work and pump up pages faster. Maybe not, but I have this feeling that I might be able to get pages done slightly faster than normal if I make them black and white. We'll see about that. Secondly, I think it will give this comic a nice aesthetic if it's black and white. It will kind of, because it's not a gay romance relationship comic like my previous one have been. This is a more serious, grounded history, and I feel like it might benefit from having black and white color scheme. And also, in my work, I have been extremely reliant on color to deliver information. So anything regarding values, depth and whatnot, I've been delivering with color. But I never really studied values. And I should. So no better way to study something than to force yourself to study it by doing it. So that's what I'm gonna be doing with this comic here. I'm gonna be forcing myself to work with a medium that I'm not wholly familiar with, because then it might also prove useful in the long term by teaching me new things. Or not, maybe it'll tank horribly and everybody will hate the fuck out of it. But who knows? Maybe it will look nice. Maybe it will look a little bit noir or whatever. One thing that I had in mind though is to try and come up with a new brush for doing this whole black and white shenanigans here. Maybe a brush that is not as flat and maybe has that little watercolor effect. I think that I would benefit dearly from that. But anyway, how are you doing today, Kazi boy? How's life treating you so far? And one of us says, not again, Oni. And Oni says, you're actually on something. And oh no, you're not lewd, you're smart. And Zach says, oh hi. Hello there, Zach. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? And this is deliciously lovely Friday. Ripe for doing whatever it is that people do on Fridays. What do you guys normally do on Fridays? I happen to know, as a matter of fact, that some of you seem to enjoy spending part of your Fridays here with us on the stream, talking and, you know, having a good time, or not having a good time but talking nonetheless. But what about when there's no streams to be had? What do your Fridays become then?
We need drama, action, blood, guns, monochrome, and with some crossover and random subwoof/patron character in the background.
No. I mean, it is a good idea, but I hate doing that. Because, I mean, normally there's nothing wrong with doing cameos, but I dislike the idea, mostly because a lot of times the person's character does not fit with what the comic is, or the idea, or the story, or whatever. When I was working on the Golden Week, I used to have a tire which was like, you get to be a cameo in the comic and whatnot, at the very beginning. But the problem is, the person's character was like a winged dragon canine something mix, a hybrid character, and I thought, well shit, how in the world am I gonna make this fit into this lore? Theoretically doesn't. You can't explain that kind of character in the kind of comic that is the Golden Week. Or I could simply say fuck it and throw in the character back in the background somewhere. But I didn't want to do it because it felt like it didn't fit. So I don't want to. In the future, I don't want to go and be like, no, I'm not gonna throwing a camera of your character because it doesn't fit the lore and the theme of this world, but this other person's character does, so they get to have a cameo, and I don't want to do that and limit people because of their characters' choices or whatnot. So I'm not gonna be doing cameos. But other than that, yeah, I guess the other things we can have. And also, Zach, how are you doing today in this delicious non-lewd Friday that we're having? And then you say that you're lewd. Well, then stop being lewd. When the force says it doesn't have gay romance, then out the window with it. No. Not gonna throw away this comic that I have thought up. Kaze said that you've been good. You feel like you finally have a grasp on your path and future and like a plan. Oh, that's awesome, Kaze. That's awesome to hear. Naku says that train details are on point. Good job, boo. And Zach says, Doug, I have a question. Sure, Zach. What is it? Let me know what your mind is cooking up. What sort of questions do you have? And I was doing this. Details on the train tracks. So the details here on the train tracks are very more minute because of how I'm having to juggle not having colors. All detail that I want to convey is in black and white. Normally, if I wanted to make this is, if I wanted to make some part of an object pop up, all I had to do is use a different color from the rest of the scene. In this one, I can't do that. For you see, I can't say, this is blue and this is gray. That's how you know they're different things. With a monochrome comic, I can't get away with that. I have to learn materials and whatnot and manage to represent those things in black and white. And I think that in the long run that is gonna give me some pretty good insight into how to make comics, and rather how to improve my coloring skills. Or not, maybe it won't do shit for me, but who knows. And Zach, your question is, when can you claim a free sketch? Whenever. Just send me a message on Discord and we'll get working on it. I mean, I don't know when I will actually get to doing it. Maybe in one of these streams when I have the time and whatnot, but other than that, who knows? Sometime. And Oli says no more of that gay shit. And Kaza says, judging from what the train looks like, you suppose this takes place in the 19th century. Yes and no. But yes. You got it, Kaze. Congratulations. I believe I have explained the plot of this comic before. But I'm gonna go and do that again. The idea of this comic is that it takes place in another planet. Somewhere in the universe there's a planet inhabited by canines. So the canines are the sapient species, so they're like the humans of their planet or whatever. And these feisty canines, they're going all over the place with all sorts of crazy shenanigans. And they're living sort of an industrial revolution of their own until the fatedic day when humans invade their planet. Suddenly they're leaving and aliens show up from the sky. They take out their masks and go like, I'm a human, haha. And that's how this comic story is gonna go. It's like, whoa, what would a canine-like civilization living in the industrial age would do when the humans show up? Alongside other little drama things. But it's not gonna be like the dramas of these or that one character. It's gonna be more... It's gonna involve more characters in its narrative. And hopefully with that, I'll get to make a more interesting comic and explore themes I have not yet done before. Mostly because this is pretty big compared to what I have been doing before. In scales of, you know, the universe, the amount of information I have on characters and whatnot. This is pretty bigger, much bigger than the Golden Week or the Call Me series. But this is a much different endeavor than what I have been used to until now. Like I had said and posted and whatnot. Before I keep talking about that, Zach, you said, that's the question. One, when can you ask for a free sketch? Whenever. I mean, if you have the points, you can get a free sketch. There's no when can I do it. Just all you have to do is hit me up on Discord or over here on the stream and say, hey, Doug, I wanna get a free drawing. And then I'll say, okay, sure, send me the details, and someday, somehow, somewhere, you're gonna send me those delicious details. And after I have those details in hand, in one of these streams or outside of the streams, whenever I have the time, I'll start working on that drawing. And once it's done, I will deduct the points required for getting that sketch. That's how it's gonna work. And Rain Shep say, please don't use time travel ever. Major cop out for sci-fi. No, I did not plan on using time travel. I mean, if you're ever gonna use time travel, you gotta really have read up a lot of time travel fiction and have some really good ideas on how to make it novel and make sense. And I feel like that's the kind of endeavor I will never be ready for. So I'm not even gonna bother trying. I simply, like I was gonna say, I have been cooking up this story here for the Interdictor in my mind ever since 2015 or so. And ever since then, I knew I wanna do something like this, but I was kind of busy with the Golden Week at the time, and then after with the NPS stuff. But when I wasn't busy with those things anymore, and I had when I had the free time, when I wasn't doing the streams, I had the free time to try and pursue those things. I thought, hey, I could go and do that, but I do not think that I am ready to pursue that. I'm not ready to start up this gigantic comic. I don't know how. Then last year I took some courses on story writing, more narrative drawing and other stuff, and I tried to really gather knowledge in this time. Ever since 2015, I've been trying to do that, gather some knowledge, prepare myself. But I would still be doing that up to forever, because this is a very big thing, and I don't think I would ever feel ready to start it up. So I guess that the best I could go and do is simply start it up, even though I don't feel ready to. Because if I wait until I'm ready to start it up, I'll be 30 or 35. And it's gonna take some time to do this whole comic, and the sooner I start the better. So it's a matter of, do I want to wait until I'm ready and then start up this comic a couple decades from now, or do I start now when I'm not ready and I learn along the way? It is a valid questioning to do with a lot of stuff, but I've decided to go and start it up now. Let's see how this goes. Hopefully it will work out. And Zach, you said, question 2, is it okay if you give 4,000 good boy pounds to someone? Hell yes, it is. You just have to tell me who do you wanna give your good boy pounds to, and I'll make the arrangements. Because the idea of the good boy pounds is that you earn it by watching the stream. So if someone else wants to redeem a free sketch, they have to have those good boy pounds, and to earn these good boy pounds, all they have to do is sit around and watch the streams. So it's more of a tool that I'm using to get people to watch my streams. So that's the incentive, part of this incentive. But nothing stops you from using your points to do whatever. So if you want to give it off to someone, then sure. That can also work as an incentive. For them to, eventually in the future start watching more streams, because after they get a free drawing they say, hey, maybe it's not that hard to pile up 4,000 good boy pounds. Who knows? And only say, but Doug wants to make sure you are sure, and I mean really sure on your choice, and who you're willing to give your GBP to said person. And one of us says, why it is so cold? Why is it so cold? Because you have been born in a place that is cold, and you have not so far taken the measures to move away from that cold place. I think that's part of the reasons. Not that it's easy, but that is the reason why. I could be wrong too. Might be because, winter is coming over there in the northern hemisphere. Or because some weird meteorological event has happened and there's a very cold front coming your way, and you're gonna have to learn how to deal with it. It could be a myriad of things, so who knows? For real, even. So I also have been thinking about this whole string, the boss command and the heist command you guys do to get yourself some good boy pounds. I've been thinking about nerfing them and making the amount of money you can get from them smaller, but that would kinda make it suck a little, a huge bit. So I'm thinking rather of increasing the cooldown time, so that you guys can only do that once or twice a stream instead of one time or 4 times per stream. That could help a little bit with it. Wow, the amount of detail I'm throwing into these wooden planks is ludicrous. Oh boy. And also, welcome to the stream, Sam. How are you doing today? By the way, today is a non-loot Friday, just so you know. Benoni says because when the transaction done, it's all sales are final. And Sammy said you're doing well after sleeping more, but your work to fix the school is far from over. And Zach says, okay, anyone here wants 4,000 goodbye pounds, you got so many and you're feeling generous. I wonder if I want some, but he would still watch you without them done. Aww. You didn't even knew about the sketches. Yes, because I suck at advertising, whatever. I need a marketing person to advertise shit for me. And Rega, you watch it, you would watch it regardless. And you are enjoyable to watch. Oh, thank you, Rega. Sammy said Doug's birthday is in 4 days. Is it? Oh boy, it is. And one of us says, it is fall here in Sweden. Oh, how lovely. And Sam, you say, I hope you like my gift, Mr. Douglas. Perhaps I will. Who knows? Rega says that you have art block. And one of us says, but like, you would appreciate if it wasn't called inside. Ooh. Oh, that's a different matter altogether. Maybe you need more clothes, I guess. Rega says you keep trying to draw him something, but nothing gets on your canvas like you want it to. That's a nice block, yes, I'm afraid. And then he says you keep your husband warm because your fluffy Bernese mounted purper. And Sam says, yay, you lived. And then he says, make it once every 2 hours. Mayhaps. And one of us says, 4 days. You don't think you can do anything cute for Doug? Of course you can. As long as you use your mind, you can do everything. And Zach says, so, when you want 4,000 good boy pounds, you're sure. Arego says, Oni is marketing boy. Is he though? One of us says, Zach, you mean you are sure someone else deserves them more, but it would be very nice with a sketch. And Bones says, oh no kidding, Doug, I'ma draw you something. Oh please do, Bones. Little do you guys know, but Bones is actually a pretty well-talented artist, and he draws very nice things, and you guys should buy commissions from him, because Bones is very, very good at drawing things.
What am I, chopped liver? I've been advertising the £4,000 for arts for the longest.
And one of us says you don't want more clothes. Well, too bad, because you're gonna need them. Or freeze to death, one or the other. No, well, not to death, I mean freeze until you get hypothermia, but whatever floats your boat. And Oni, you said that, what do you chopped liver? You've been advertising for the 4,000.
Nobody pays attention to me at all.
You've been advertising the 4,000 good per pound for arts for the longest. That you have indeed. I should put that on a timer and have the good boy bot advertise that as well. Speaking of which, we have not been It's been so long since we have talked about the Goodbye Bot, hasn't it? And also, Bone says, "Oh my gosh, Doug, please. What? Do you want me to talk more about how awesome your art is?" I mean, I have art of myself to do, but sure, I guess I can take a little break from the art that I'm doing right now to talk about how awesome yours is. Because you guys know, Bones, he used to work doing lots of badges, and for people who went on furry conventions and events, and his badges were surprisingly good. When he showed me the badges he had done, I was astounded by how professional they looked. And when he told me that he didn't draw for too long, I was like, "Oh my god, how in the world are you so good at drawing? How did you get so good so fast at drawing? Bones, what the hell is your secret? Please share it with me." And then Bones said, "Well, too bad I don't draw anymore." And then I cried for days, because Bones' art is amazing. Just so you know, it's really good, really good. And one of us says, "Doug, by the way, do you have a long beard or no?" I don't think I do. I mean, I do have a beard, but it's not long. Because every time I try to grow up a beard, people say that I look like a hobo. So I have kinda given up. So now I trim my beard. Well, not really actually. Last time I tried to grow a beard, it was when I was in college, and one of our veterans, our seniors, one day randomly he came to me and said, "Well, you know what? You kind of have to, take care of your beard and maybe shave it or trim it or keep it more, take better care of it, because people will see you better if you do that." And I said, like, "Well then." But it wasn't like out of randomness. It was because we were talking. I don't even remember exactly what we were talking about. But it was mostly people talking about college life, adult things. It was that everybody in college was fresh. Well, not everybody, but most everybody, or most of the people I hang out with, were fresh out of high school. So everybody was 18 or 19, 20 at most, and I was the older-ish guy with 23, almost 24, when I was in college. And I already had a profession of sorts. I had a life outside of college, and a lot of things going on, and people kind of looked up a little bit to me, in the sense of, what, Doug actually knows what he's doing, life-wise. But then this senior, who is also older, older than his peers, he came to me and said, "Well, people do look up to you, but they would look up to you more if you took better care of your looks." And then I said, "Huh." It was a weird exchange, all in all, but it was interesting, nonetheless. Anyway. And Bond says stop, and one of us says, "You never seen Oni mentioning the sketches." He has done that a lot. And Oni says, "Bones, you want 2,000 Goodbye Pound to make you a profile picture." And Bones says, "Oni, kill me, he won't stop." And Oni says, "Nope, his boss can't do a thing." And Oni says, "Out of your power." And also, hello there, Tiger. Welcome to the stream. You said that Doug is the boss. Yes, I am. As it happens. Arego says Hobo Doggo. Make Doug a twin that look like a hobo in the background of one of these pages. Maybe. 104 says Hobo Do. Ugh. Is that my new lore name? My new Tolkien-ish name. Hobodo apostrophe Ugh. Arego says it would fit. And Tiger says there you go. There you good. And on you said making some coffee right now. Oh nice, coffee is good. And 104 says older-ish guy. Oh my. Arego says on you. Make us some please. And Tiger says coffee is good on you. Make yourself look handsome. 104 says you are like a comforter burrito in your bed. And Oni says then fly here to Texas and get some of your nice hot brewed Folgers coffee. Folgers? What the hell is that? Zach says I can give you that 2,000 goodbye pounds. But anyway, Tiger, how are you doing today in this lovely non-loot Friday that we're having so far? By the way, surprise, surprise, shockers. Everybody, pretend you're super duper impressed. Today is the 26th of October, and you know what that means. It's the day they're gonna be releasing Red Dead Redemption 2. Which means later today later today or tomorrow, whenever, I'm gonna go to the shopping mall and buy me some games. And then I'm gonna go and play it some here on the stream. How would you guys say that you are? How interested you guys would say that you are in Red Dead Redemption 2? Because I have not played Red Dead Redemption 1 more than the... Let's give it a test because I'm at someone else's house who does have this console and has this game. I never finished the game myself. It's too long a game to go and finish. Nonetheless, I did play it back in the day and it was enjoyable. It was a fun little game, but I never finished it. But knowing how, you know, how crazy Rockstar Games has become with the whole, you know what, let's be realistic about every freaking fucking thing we can find over the last many years, kinda makes me think how much better or worse is this new game gonna look like. Because I gotta say, when they released Grand Theft Auto 5 in 2013, I was freaking astounded by the sheer ridiculous amount of details they threw into that game. Details that, you know, nowadays are like, whatever. But back in 2013, those things were revolutionary shits. And that back in the PlayStation 3 era, I think one of the most ridiculous things in GTA 5 was the whole fact that one of the characters, Michael, every now and then he shows up and he's wearing shorts and flip-flops, but when he walks, the flip-flops, they actually flip and flop. They are not glued to his feet like most games would model their characters. So the freaking flip-flop is animated in a very realistic manner. And I thought, and when I was playing and I saw that, I thought, God damn, don't they have anything better to do with all this money and this team that they have for making their games? But anyway, after I saw that I started realizing how crazy serious Rockstar is about, you know, small details that makes no difference in the game altogether, but makes the whole experience more immersive and whatnot. And ever since then I've been thinking, what will they do for the next one? I wanna first says how detailed are these sketches, by the way? Not much. It's pretty much a sketch, a cleaned up sketch. It's not gigantic, but it's something. Oh boy. Zach, thank you so damn much for that delicious donation.
Dud does 4000 GBP for sketches, while I do 500 GBP for coloring. Oh my dog.
Is that an agreement we have, only? Because, I mean, sure, why not? Why the hell not? But anyway, thank you so very much for that delicious donation, Zach. You also sent in a message with that donation. You said, here's a 10 bucks for you. You're shopping, have fun. Oh, I thank you, Zach. Thank you so very much for that delicious donation. And also, where is the United States? And I knew which presidents are in each bill. I would go and call out the name of the bill. Like, here you go, have a Frankly for your shopping or whatever. But I don't actually know which presidents are in which bills, so I'm gonna have to resort to my Brazilian knowledge. And it's kind of broken because 10 bucks is around 36-ish Brazilian reais. So let's pretend you gave me 50. Why not? The hell not? And the 50 Brazilian reais bill is I think it's a Sheeta, or our version of the Sheeta. I don't know what it's called. So thanks for that, Sheeta, Zach. And One of Four says you are not interested in Red Dead Redemption at all. You think you are, but you are sure. Sure, you are. I mean, you are. Sure, you are in minority. Rega says, I feel Doug puts a ton of effort into his sketches. Yes, I try to. I try to make it look good. And One of Four says that it's very detailed. I don't know, I don't think it's as clean as it could be. But yes, it's not like super half-assed. I do try to throw in some effort into those. Thank you, by the way, for those delicious compliments. There I have this delicious contrast tool, adjust contrast that I can use.
Doug, remember you told me to take up something to do, so I'm taking up coloring practice again.
Look at this, how good, how bad it looks actually. But maybe I will have to go and do some contrast adjusting, maybe increase it by 10 to give it the pop it needs. But I'll do that later. And yes, only doing something new is good. It keeps you busy, and a busy mind is a happy mind, more or less. And one of us says more detailed than you thought. And can they be not safe for work or only safe for work? It can be not safe for work, but if they are not safe for work, then you're bad. Your sweet cheeks. I will not be doing them during the stream. One of us says, when you said sketches, you thought literal sketch a lot. Like doodles now. Sketches as in, they're not crisp line art, but they're something that you can tell what it is. But anyway, that's great to hear, only that you're taking up practicing coloring again. Glad to know that somebody listens to the things I say. Isn't that right, Nekio? You scrub. And I think we're done with the train tracks. There's, you know, theoretically the amount of detail I can throw into this thing is infinite. Like, I think it's good, but it can always be more detailed. Now I think we should focus on the train. Same thing with the train. I'm gonna use this marker pencil. In fact, before I keep up with this, I wanna go to this delicious folder full of train pictures all over the place. Put them in a folder and hide it. That's why I don't have to keep looking at that for too long. And I want to try out a brush, a new brush. What I'm gonna do is pick up this marker brush. Same thing, around 30 opacity. That looks okay. What I want to do is start fiddling with this comic and see what it does. Let me show you guys my display so you guys can see it hell what I'm doing. And Thank you says what? You wasn't paying attention. Exactly. And also hello there, Anatril. Wolf morning to you and welcome to the stream. How are you doing in this delicious not lewd morning, not lewd Friday morning? And only says that's why you're doing 500 GBP to color anything. That's nice. And you guys, and Oni said, Rego says, oh, Oni hosted. When the Force says, did you forget your host? I don't know. Did you? Nonetheless, thank you, Oni and 104 for hosting. So I did look it up, and you don't get Good Boy Pounds for hosting. So if you're doing the hosts just for the Good Boy Pounds, it does nothing. Just saying that. So what I'm gonna do here with this brush, I don't like how blend it looks. So I'm gonna change a little bit about it. So the brush tip, I'm gonna make it slightly rounder. Rotate it in the other direction. Where is the rotation direction? So 315. That's so it points in that other direction. So it's the opposite of what I've been doing so far. because I want it to feel more like a brush, like an actual watercolor brush. Maybe not a stick, maybe go 120 thickness. So it's not completely round, it still has some sort of a... Maybe 200 is a good direction. And about 45 thickness, no, maybe 60 thickness. Good, so it's slightly round but not too much. Density does not does much unless it's below 20. But yeah, I'm gonna set it at 15 and throw in some pen pressure effects. But so if I press it harder, it throws in more. So it kind of looks like it's failed a little bit. And with that we can increase the opacity to something around 70 perhaps? Nah. Yeah, the opacity can never be too high, so 30 is the maximum. Pressure wise, maybe that way. So you don't have to do a whole lot of pen pressure to get the highest value. Because if you have any of these settings that requires you to throw in a lot of pen pressure, you're gonna end up breaking your tablet pen eventually. And you don't want to do that. And also border of watercolor. This gives a nice little watercolor border effect to the thing once it's done. Maybe fiddling with the density was not such a good idea after all. Okay, so we're gonna be at 3. And density, sure, you go all the way up. Why the hell not? And also, hello there, Leo, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? Everyone's favorite Leo boy. Alright, so now the watercolor border is way too strong. Oh man, The settings are... oh wow. The settings are so fiddly. So finicky. What have I done with this? It doesn't feel like the other brush anymore. It feels completely different. Weirdly enough. So this is this new brush. This is the previous one. It does not feel that different. Huh. Oh, then all my fiddling with this was... all my fiddling was fruitless. It didn't amount to anything. I was trying to kind of blur a little bit more the border between one color and the other. That's so we'll get a better effect. But I guess it isn't. I guess I can't do that with this brush. So never mind. Let's go back to doing the comic. And also, what have I missed while I was fiddling with the things? Onyu said no, you're not hosting for the GBP. You got a host for a dumb thing you're trying to test and didn't work. Wonderful says, wait, you get GBP for hosting? No, you do not. And then it says, used to. The old goodbye bot did it, the new one gave less, and the current one says, fuck you, no GBP for host. Wonderful says he was wondering if it was something else I had missed. Zach says, Doug, I sent you a DM on Discord, thank you. I will check it up later. Wonderful says, if you do something cute for you, Bidet, please don't hate it, you're bad at everything, so... don't worry. As long as it's from heart, I will love it. And also, hello there, Leo. What is up with you in this not loot Friday that we're having? And Rega says, I'm gonna try to draw something even if it looks like complete garble, cause you wanna give something to Doug. Aww. Thank you. I know you said no, you don't wanna do heist. Why not? And only you said you won't cause you're a good boy and don't steal from the evil boy bot. And Leo said you, lewd. Yep. Well then. That's good-ish. But today is the day where we don't get to be lewd, so don't be lewd, please. So for the train, how am I gonna do this? Feck. I have no idea how to color this train. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna start with white. I'm gonna start with gray. There we go. So now I can have the blue. The fuck am I saying? I can have the white brush and the black brush and do highlights in different areas depending on the direction I think the sun is coming from, or the light source is coming from. Because as you guys can see, nobody knows where the light source is, where it is, or what it is. So this is a gigantic amount of guesswork we're doing here. So this is gonna get crazy. But anyway, one thing I had thought up thought up with this comic here is that, you know, it is not a furry gay romance comic like all my other ones have been so far, and also because it's done in a way that normies can enjoy this comic's story and perhaps the art as well. I was thinking maybe I should try and bring this one up to an actual comic publisher. By that I mean a company such as Image Comics or whomever else, and try and get them to be like, hey, I like your comic, maybe we should go and publish it. So far I haven't. The only comic I published was Diagonal Week with Rabbit Valley. And while that was a interestingly nice experience to have a physical comic that I can show people and be like, hey, look, I made this, and people believed enough in this story that they're willing to print it, it's still like a very indie niche publication. And even they're like, well, that is indeed a published comic, but published by a name nobody knows. Nobody outside this niche, that is. So I've been thinking of trying to do that. But there is the big problem that, you know, when you start publishing things with people, you start being liable to contracts and whatnot. And I would imagine that they would throw up some contract clauses like, hey, you cannot publish this comic anywhere else or with anyone else. So I don't think I would be able to make this comic for Patreon, say, for example. So this would become an non-Patreon thing. And probably they would say, no, you cannot publish this on Patreon. Unless I made some sort of arrangement with them, but I don't know if they would be willing to. And you know, despite being a good opportunity, possibly there would be so many buts and ifs attached to it. I'm not sure if it is the best move. Because with the Patreon, you know, I get the freedom to do it however I want, whenever I want, and do whatever I want with it. And if it becomes a thing that has a company and investors and whatnot behind it, I will have less of a say on what I can and want to do. And you know, the project as a whole might lose a lot of bling to it. Besides, they will probably also not be like, ah, okay, you're a one-man team, so it's gonna take you forever to do new issues, so sure, take your time. I'm guessing that they're gonna be like, well, we will start publishing once we have 3 finished, completed issues, and then we will see how that goes. So that's it. That's what I'm worried about. There's a lot of ifs and buts and howevers in that, but there's no better way to get your name out there than to do that. To do that, by that I mean getting published by big name. There's this guy, I will never remember his name because it's an impossible to know name, impossible to memorize name rather. I think it's a Stepjon Salik. I might have completely fucked up the name of the guy or girl, but I think it's a guy. Nonetheless, it's a guy who has worked solo and on the, I think it's Switchblade comic. Switchblade or Witchblade, I don't know. One or the other. And he worked on that solo, or if it did not work solo, he did work with somebody else. Like a writer who did the script and he went and did the art for the comic on his own. And they published this Switchblade, whatever it's called, comic for for a long time, until this one day that Stepjon Salik or whatever the guy is called decided that he didn't. Well, they finished up the Witchblade comics, and then he decided, you know what, now I'm gonna work on my personal project. So he started doing this comic about a lesbian couple who is into BDSM or whatever. I didn't read the comic. I bought it, but I didn't read it, and I didn't read much of it. And I think he had been doing that comic and posting it for free online, and then it got such a cult following on DeviantArt and whatnot that then he took it up to the people at Top Cow Comics, and they decided to publish it, even though it was already, most of it was free online or something. I don't know exactly the details of it, but he did it. So that is a hope that if with good negotiation it can be worked out and people can be convinced through, you know, that it can be published, but it can also be freely available online. I mean, not freely available online, but it doesn't have to remain an exclusive publication sort of deal. It can still be on Patreon and elsewhere. Also, I kind of fucked up with this cylinder here. It does not look cylindrical, like completely round. It looks kind of layered. I'm gonna have that. Fuck. I'm gonna have to sheet a little bit here and use a smooth brush to smooth it out. Made it look more circular. Which is kind of sad because my entire idea with this thing is that I would only use one brush to make the whole thing, but apparently it failed already. But it doesn't look so bad now. And Leo said, okay, you'll be lewd undercover dog. And one of us said, Paul's under the cover, just like you ran. And Onyo said, no lewd or you ban. And one of us said, normies, ooh. And Leo said, with your big Ben hammer, Oni. And Tiger says, you could maybe. Regan says, do it. Tiger said, true. I don't know what true exactly, but you said true. And then you said that it's understandable. Leo said, Doug, layers. Working with layers, should there not be more layer levels? Yeah, either more layers or I go and blur it all. And Oni said, to be honest, you feel sick of yourself. Why? What's that, Oni? Oni said no, like, you're truly sick of yourself, of how you are, what you have done, how you behave, how you draw. Why though? And boy, I didn't even notice, but Zach took me out as the stream boss. In a single fell swoop, he took me out and became the new stream boss. What do you know? Zach has the power, apparently. Congratulations, Zach, on being the new stream boss. But Oni, what exactly makes you feel bad about the way you are and the way you have been and the way you behave? Because there's a lot of things that are within our power to do something, and there are things that are not. So depending on what it is exactly, maybe there's something we can do to help you. And you know it, if there is something that we can do, just let us know. We can talk it out. And you also said where you live, how you think, and just everything in general. And Leo says again, you say you grow used to it, or try to grow out of it, and that takes effort, post the choice to do so. And then you said it's like people say, you're okay, you don't sing like this, but honestly when you've seen your childhood record, it was really much fucked up to begin with in elementary school. What? What do you mean, Oni? What do you mean? And of course, I mean, if you like talking about it, because I imagine it's something that might make you uncomfortable and you might not be wanting to share it right now with everybody. But if you ever feel like you need to talk it out with somebody, please do. We will be most of the time on Discord and our Telegram, and feel free to reach out to any one of us. We want to see you happy, Oni. So don't hesitate to come to us if you need to. Please do not hesitate to come to us. And Zach, say how much damage does the nation do to stream bosses? I think that each dollar does 100 points of damage. So $10, which is what you have donated, was just about enough to take me out as a stream boss. Speaking of which, Zach, I think you had already had asked for a drawing for the GBB. Now that I think about it, it had something to do with you eating cake. How you're eating cake while nobody's looking, kind of like sneakingly eating a piece of cake. I think. was something to do with that. And Kazu said sorry, I wasn't talking, it was photoshopping, but anywho, GTG to work, ciao. Sure thing, Kaze. Thank you so very much for stopping by and hanging out with us, or listening to us. And have an awesome day. Make sure to work hard, but most importantly, do work smart. And we'll be seeing each other later. And when it says exact, doubles the damage of how much was donated. Leo says so choose either stay the same or start a shift only, that is your only choice. And Oni says so if it was $10 it does 1000 damage. Yeah, it does 100 damage per dollar. And Target says we'll listen. Exactly thought 10 times 2 is 20 and 10 times 10 is 100. And Oni says it adds this zero double. And also hello there Jay Midokami, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? And Kazis, you are gonna go. Hopefully you will be back someday. And only says that you don't know, Streamlabs is meh. And Zach says you lived again. Arego says where you see the stream boss. On the bottom left corner of the stream. It's the little picture with a little health bar. Elio says 1 equals 1, 2 equals 1. 1, 2, or 3. 3 equals 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, or 7. So those 5. What? What? Leo, you cannot start the morning by throwing these kinds of logical questions on us. It's borderline cruel. Everybody's still waking up. Nobody has the mental capacity enough to go and do logic math. But if anyone does want to go ahead and give it a try, feel free to. And Jay Midokami, you say that you're doing good, and that's awesome to hear. Welcome to the stream, by the way. But yes, that was, as I was saying, much long ago. This guy, Stepchen Salik, or whatever his name is, I'm gonna look it up and try to find out what the guy's name is. He's been working on a publication for Top Cow Comics, and in fact I think that is whatever it's called, Switchblade, I don't know, whatever it's called. It was so good that it has become the face of Top Cow Comics. And maybe that has a lot to do with why this guy was able to go and do his own thing and have people back him up, because of how well he is known to these people. Like, hey, you don't say no to Stepchen. He is pretty much the guy who made our most successful publication. You can't say no to Stepchen. So whatever he asks, you say yes. And then he said, hey, can you guys publish my lesbian BDSM comic? And they said, well, sure, why not? Oh, nice, Warframe soundtrack. It's so weirdly good, and you don't even know it. A lot of this bits, a lot of bits here on this train are not exactly details. They're more like drawings, not necessarily holes or whatnot in the train. But I'm gonna use the power of suggestion, the values and whatnot, to make it feel like this part is a relief in the side of the train thing here. Same thing with this one. Gonna make this one here feel like a reliefy relief. And because the coloring here is so sketchy, so goddamn sketchy, it doesn't have to be precise. Even if I go a little bit overboard outside of the contours and the line art, it will still feel right-ish. Because the line art here is more of a suggestion rather than the rule. And that's how your mind is trained to see this whole shenanigan here. And Tiger said yes, they are very good. I never really paid too much attention to them. And Leo says self-generation counting system, much like Fibonacci. Huh. I know you said that we met up during middle school, and for some reason his parents saw you and pulled him out of school and transferred to a new state and school. It might not have been because of you only. Just say. And that's why you're disgusted and sick of yourself. We'll show in Discord. But you're gonna put in the not safe for work. Okay. And one of you say you think one message was too long and didn't send only? Perhaps? I know you tagged it. I'll look at it later when the stream is over. If that's okay with you, Warner. And there's more rivets here that I did not fully dedicated some attention to. And also one thing I have found out about this whole black and white shenanigans here is that it's not incredibly hard to add color on top of this one. I posted on Twitter an experiment where I drew a character in this fashion here, and then I tried to color him after it was already black and white. It was not incredibly hard. It was pretty easy, in fact. Because normally the way I do uh, my comics is that I will finish the drawing, then I will throw in the color, and then I'll create a new layer and throw in the shading on top of the color. For this comic, however, I'm not doing a line art, a precise line art. It's very sketchy, deliberately sketchy. And then with the coloring, I will throw the shading, but I will never throw a color. I will never throw the colors. So it stays just as a shading layer of sorts. But if I were to add a color layer under this one, it would become colored. Except that it would be colored in a different style than the one you guys have probably seen me do before. Because the way I normally color is by using a blurring brush. So the blurring brush, it mixes up colors very well, and it doesn't leave these harsh lines, borders between colors. It's pretty easy to tell when one... It's pretty hard actually to tell when one color ends and another one begins. Whereas in this method here, it's pretty clear where the colors end and start. Although, for the train engine body there, that was a bad thing, but let's see, let's try and figure out how we can use and improve on this style. And only you said it was you? Sure, Doug, check it on after the stream, but yeah, it was all you. He didn't say anything but looked down, scared. Vega says, only if you ever need to talk or vent, you can always message you. Nani said he was the one that took the heat while we could have taken our last punishment if you confess, and said, hey, I let yourself to him, but don't blame it. But Ricardo looked away as if nothing existed. And Leo said, when kids get outed by someone's choice or even just chance, little to no good comes of it only. Rego says only you were also young, and Zack says even you were afraid as well. Rego says it was not your fault, and Zack says children get scared and they don't talk or budge. Yeah, I haven't checked out what you guys are talking about even. But from what I can infer, you do regret some childhood choice, Oni. And if that is the case, don't blame yourself too harshly. Kids are pretty unwise in the ways of the world. And you know, looking back doesn't help a whole lot. In the long run, you're just gonna feel bad, and that's not gonna help you. If you're gonna look back to seek answers on how to push forward, not to just look back and keep looking back and never look forward. But you're a smart boy, on you, so I figure you'll knew that already. This bit here with the wheels and whatnot. This is gonna be tricky. I have no earthly idea how to shade this accurately. Another thing I have never been too keen on doing before is that certain materials, such as metals, they reflect light differently from certain materials such as cloth and anything else. So when shading, say, metal, you should try and shade it in a way that light reflects out of it like metal would. Same thing when shading fabric, cloth, skin. And that's why you study color, light and color. It's not necessarily studying how to light and color things, but studying how light behaves in all sorts of different materials that there are in the world. And it's only by learning all these different crazy materials that you can start to take a better approach to coloring now. Because learning the concepts of lightning, that light is, rays of light that originate from some source and shines light onto a surface, and the surface blocks the light, so the area behind the surface is not as bright as the surface because it's being shadowed. So we cast the surface that is receiving the light is probably belongs to an object, and this object is gonna be casting a shadow behind it. Those things are not incredibly hard to grasp. But when you start to think about, hey, light is shining on this object, and this object, because it has some sort of reflective surface, it's also reflecting some of the light onto other surfaces around it. Then things start to get a little bit trickier. And when you start to think also on, but this surface is a metal, so not only is it reflecting light, but light is observed in that material differently from what it would be observed in plastic or a piece of paper, for example. And then you start to get some real complicated surfaces to study and deal with when it comes to shading. And that's why people spend hours and hours and hours studying lightning, because it's a ridiculously expensive subject. Like most other things in illustration are. And one thing I realized is that these streams are very good because while I'm working on this many things that I keep talking about, I am speaking what I'm thinking, and by doing so I'm putting an extra layer of thought into what I'm doing, which helps me make sure that I'm paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm not doing it because I learned one way and never try to improve on that. So it's pretty interesting the way it works. And one of us says, would it have mattered though? You got a punishment even if it would be perceived as not being your choice. So if I had said you wanted it, you would have been more punished. So you just get so angry at the school. Leo said whatever happened, happened. It can't be changed at all, only learned from. 104 says, can you burn the school down? No, 104, you cannot. We need more schools, less burning buildings. And Leo says, Matt, surface light action and reaction. Yes, Doug? What? Maybe, Leo, maybe. I know you said, but like you said on Discord, you wish you can forget that and not how old you was at the time. And Leo says only you could love to hate yourself for all that you have put yourself and others through, though you won't, can't change a damn thing. And Tiger says it happened and that event is a part of your life, but it's not all of your life and doesn't control who you are. You can grow and move on from that. You just have to let yourself move on from it. And Leo says, so I think on it. And Zach said that you think the mood of the stream chat has been, well, dampened. Kinda. I mean, that is a good thing, I think. Not that, you know, not a good thing that the mood has gone down. But it's a good thing that we're discussing more serious subjects. Because, you know, no matter how good things are going, we can't fib ourselves and keep thinking, hey, things will never be bad. They will be bad eventually, and if we don't ignore the fact that things are possibly perhaps a little bit bad, like, we can start to think about it and talk about it and try to find a way to deal with it, which is pretty important. Because this has nothing to do with the subject, just a little example. But whenever conflicts happen, I have no idea what to do. Because growing up, I grew up in a house where people are not vocal about their opinions and avoid conflicts generally. And that is bad, because now I'm not ready for the world of humans where, you know, the only way to resolve a lot of things is through conflicts. And that is very bad. So we have to learn how to deal with that, and the only way to start learning how to deal with those things is by facing them. So it will be uncomfortable, we will feel sad, but in the long run, it's going to be beneficial to everybody included. And besides, we all love Oni. This is all for Oni. We're here to help him. We're not necessarily here to help him, but since we are here and we like him so very much, let's put on the energy to do something good for him and help Oni. Because I am sure that Oni would also help us, no matter what we're going through. Or not, maybe Fridays, instead of being no lose Fridays, they can be real talk Fridays. And before we go into the weekend to drink all sorts and brands of booze and forget about everything and everyone, we can end our weeks by talking about those things that bother us and trying to improve and become better persons by really putting out there, hey, these are my thoughts on the world. How about that? Nonetheless, one of us said that you think it is really good to think of what you have put others through, so don't redo the bad choices. But only, on the other hand, did nothing wrong. It was the school's fault. And Leo said mental dissection are only emotions, it's still just another mental activity. Tiger says conversation discussion, but most important, we support each other. And Leo says you gave up booze, Doug. Oh yeah, sorry. And one of us says talking is better than booze. And also, I just got myself some candy, some ginger root, little candy. It's good for the trophy now. Because you know me, I must have something wrong with me. Because it is impossible for someone as young and as spry as I to be so coffee every single day. I'm always coughing and clearing up my throat, and I wonder why. And I think, I mean, every time I do exercises in cardio, exercise such as going out for a run or for a walk, whenever I come back I spend the next 2 hours coughing even more so. Or whenever I have to talk, such as every day when I'm streaming. But I do remember every time I have to talk, eventually my throat gets really sore when I'm in a party or whatever and I have to talk up louder. The next day or even 1 hour later I have a very sore throat because of how loud I had to talk and how not used my throat is to talking loudly. But during this one time when I was a teacher in a private-ish school, I had to talk up all day as I was teaching the subject to the students, and during that time was the only time in my life that I do recall not having cough problems. I mean, I did for the first month, but after the second month I never had a coughing problem anymore until I stopped working there 6 months later, and then little by little the cough returned. And I guess that one thing that would help me lose the coughing fits I have, is to speak up loud on a daily basis. But as it happens, we can't do that. I cannot speak too loud on a daily basis, otherwise everybody's gonna be really bothered by all the noise I'm gonna be making. But it's a thought for the future, perhaps. Maybe I'll start going out for walks again. And while I'm out on the streets, I'll be talking to myself really loudly. Kinda maybe doing a thing that people have told me to start doing, which is as I'm out walking or doing any sort of exercise, or otherwise I'm idle, more or less. I'm not doing any mental exercise or anything that requires me to focus on what I'm doing, that I speak out loud the story for my comics. So whatever I'm writing or doing, I should speak it up. And by doing so, you are able to think better about the story you're doing, the characters you're writing, the scenes you're thinking of. Because when they're only in your mind, they make all the sense in the world, but when you start speaking them out loud, if you have a bad idea, you will realize like, holy shit, that is an awful idea. Why did I think that was a good idea? Besides, it will also help you remember things better. So that is a thing you should do more often, or so I have been told. So maybe I should go and start doing that. What about that? Or start taking daily all sorts of ginger candy by the liters, by the kilograms. Until I develop an addiction for this sweet candy. Where are you? Is this it? Might as well be. And one of us says candy, and Nanachu says you wish you had candy. And Zach, you said you gotta go now. Wow, it's almost noon. Sure thing, Zach. Thank you so very much for stopping by and hanging out with us. And I hope you have an awesome night tonight. And we'll be seeing each other next time. Stay awesome and have a delicious, eventful weekend. And do great things with your life. And Leo, you said true. Though talk while on booze often gets both ugly and true a lot in one night. And Tiger says ginger root candy sounds good. And one of us says you have candy, but you are supposed to save it for Halloween. Well, that's the good thing about living in Brazil. We don't celebrate Halloween, so I can have candy all year long. Or not really, because you know it's a lot of sugar. And Leo says ginger candy. These are like those softball, crackball candy flavored with ginger, and it also stings just as ginger does. But there's this little thing that I have found on a market in town that is amazing. It's ginger root chips. So I guess they boil it or whatever they do to it, but they cut it up in little chips, and then they coat it with sugar and dry it up and then sell it. So it's like ginger chips with sugar, and that thing is amazing because oh, it's candy pretty much. There's a shitload of sugar, but it's also ginger, so you're gonna feel the burn in your throat and your belly and everything else because it's ginger, but also you're gonna be like, I want more because it's freaking candy. I mean, sugar. And one of us says, do you have asthma? No, I do not. And one of us says, Douglas the teacher. Oh my. And Echo said, Kim being a teacher, more like you going, ooh teacher, my final result is so low. What can I do to bring it higher? Oh, Neku. You're trying to be sexy, but your grammar is so bad, so bad. Will you finally take a day and fix your freaking keyboard? Please do that. One of us says, it can be that the air is too dry for you in your apartment. Or they're all around me. Who knows? And Aku asks him, do you live in an apartment or in a house? The former, an apartment. One of us says, Douglas Senpai noticed me and your lustful pupil eyes. I would do no such thing. Leo says, I ran throughout the winter with your chest covered in muscle rub, Doug. In the end, it helped you be the only one of your sibs that don't have breathing issues. What is muscle rub? I have no idea what they're talking about. Leo says you try to write too, most just junk and smut, just to have it out of your brain so that you have space in there to think. Orego says, geez, stop being so lewd with teacher Doug. Leo says, yes Tiger, mental based muscle rub. I think we have those here. But I don't know if that's, you know... I don't know if that would work. And one of us says you can have candy, but especially brought this for giving out in case kids come and you dare opening the door. Can always, you know, get a few sheets of paper, write down a sign that says no candy and glue it outside your door. It's not that hard. And then everybody who shows up will know there's no candy to be had in this house. Or apartment, I don't know where you live. And Leo, you said the mix of actual code plus the code of the rub was almost painful at times to have said one of the 3 living sips without bringing issues. Well, that almost sounds a little bit too kinky. Like, let's get the mental paste in your chest and run out around town during winter time for the delicious mental induced pain. Sounds like a kink that I can see a lot of people having, but surely I don't think that would work out for us because, you know, we don't have cold winters in here. If ever. Aneku, you said your grammar is bad because it's slow. That's the joke. You will buy a new keyboard. Please do. Stop postponing that. Stop saving your money. Start spending it on things. But don't actually do save money. It's good to have money. A reserve of money for emergencies and whatnot. And Rager says melt the candy down, coat yourself in it, then have a partner lick it out off you. And then scream once you find out that the candy has dried up and glued itself to your hairy body, and then you're gonna have a painful hair removal procedure alongside a very painful candy removal procedure. That's not the best idea ever, Rhaegar. I have found some flaws in it. Just so you know. Just so you know. I think I may have found flaws in it. Or a new kink. But since it's non-loot Friday, we're not gonna discuss any new kinks in here. We will save the discoveries for next time. When we do reintroduce the lewd I had a joke ready, but it doesn't work in English. I'll never mind then. I will save this joke for myself because it doesn't work in English, so fuck it. Next time being never, so we'll never talk about lewd things anymore. And also, there's no songs playing. What sort of crazy world is this where no song plays? I will need to go and solve that problem right now. This should do it. Hopefully. No, not song blacklist. I want to clean up the playlist, remove all. Yes, good boy bot. I will do when I remove all those songs, and I'm gonna add this new playlist. Thank you. Gonna click shuffle a couple times. I clicked 3 times actually, so I lied. And click play and start listening to some new music. If you play though, that is.
I spied a young cowboy all wrapped in white linen and cold as the...
And Tiger says, oh, the DV keyboard is bad, you see. You would say that mental rub on your chest is the cold. In the cold would just freeze you, perhaps. And Leo says you have to use writing tools to help you make sense when writing large/many parallel works. One4 says, but then the kid will cry. But who cares about the kids? Leo says you like pen to a point. Yes, Doug, I haven't admitted to that before. Exactly. And Aki says you're not even saving money. TBQH, whatever that means. Oni says 2 weeks ago it was 35 degrees Celsius. Next day it was 18.5 degrees Celsius. Oh boy. 104 says, hey, here it was like 0 degrees Celsius or less during the morning. Save it for Monday, says Oni. No, not Oni. Save it for never. And then true, you said, you, Oni, that fluctuation in temperature would be a nightmare. And Oni, you say that it's Texas. Does Texas get that cold? I didn't think you would. And Oni, you said that Texas is bipolar with weather. Oh no. Leo says save a horse, ride a cowboy. And Oni says save it for Lewd Mood Monday. No, there will be no lewd any day. Unless we invent the lewd day, which is the day that comes between Saturday and Friday. So between Saturday and Friday there is a hidden day that only select few people can access. That is called Lewd Day. When Andrew said that you will take your 4 degrees Celsius and be happy. But Leo said C4 Celsius better to take than C4. Leo said that would be one way to end the doubt, Andrew. And Neku said Lewd Day, it's day 30 of this month. Oh Neku, why are you spreading misinformation? Why do you lie so? Don't you know that everybody here hates liars? Filthy, dirty liars such as you. You show up and talk lies with your lying mouth and your lying ways. Why would you do that, Neku? Why? Why do you have to be like that, Neku? Stop being like that, Neku. Don't lie. There will be no lewd days. And sure, let's add some random scratches to the to the metal, make you feel more metal-ish than anything else that we have had up until now. One of us says between Saturday and the following Friday. Wow, many Lou days. No. Between Friday and Saturday of the same week, there's a hidden day called Lewd Friday. Oni said choke me Doug, but not in the lewd gay way or anything. Naku said you're not lying to you. Rego says I'd rather hug Oni till he understands we love him. Leo says, yeah, well, yes, I totally agree with that quote. The quote that is, I don't care who died, I just need their armor. One of us said a hug and a choke is just a matter of where you have the hands. Well, right you are, one of four, right you are. Only from now on you will not be. If you wanna say choke, you gotta follow it up with choke my chest or something. And that is our new word for hugging. And Leo said, give me all the gear. And my other quote is not a good quote where I said, oh, go suck a dick, go choke on a big fucking dick. That is not a good quote. I mean, it is a good quote, but it wasn't said in a very good moment. And 104, no hugging anybody else's throat. Stop having such lewd ideas. And what else have you guys been saying? Leo says, sure not being lewd today only. And Neku said, you're not lying. Get it? Get it? Haha, so fun. I did get it, Neku, but you didn't direct the joke at me, so I can't say anything about it. You directed the joke at Oni, so Oni is the only one who has got the right to answer that joke. So Oni, I'll leave this one for you. But don't be lewd about it. I know I said it was Doug's quote from yesterday when he got mad. I want to first say, but you like hugging. Oh, but don't hug people's neck. Simple as that. Hug their bodies. Hug whatever, but don't hug their necks. And Rego says then hug your non-existent ballad. And Tiger says you would hug Oni a lot. Aw, that's nice. You're such a good boy, Tiger. Too bad the aliens are probing you. But if it weren't for the alien probing, boy oh boy. And, oh boy, Leo said non-existent belly is a sadness. Oh man. I know you said Doug's famous line when you were around is only no. Well, I used to say Kaze no, but Kaze no longer hangs out with us now that he has become such a important working boy. Now he has business to deal with. He has contracts to close and houses to sell and all those business dealings that he does daily, so I can't say Kaze no anymore. So with the honor of being declined of something falls to you, Oni. Congratulations, you get my denials. Hooray, I guess. Maybe that's a good thing. If we look at if we look in a very specific way, it can be a good thing, right? Also, dog freaking damn, this train has so much detail. How in the world did I do this? Why did I do this? And most people are probably gonna be like, a train, sure. What's next page? And I'm gonna be like, why? Don't look past the train after having seen it only for a fraction of a second. Pay attention to all those freaking gears and rivets and whatnot that are there in its construction. I took hours of no loot Friday to paint it, quote unquote, paint it. Oh yeah, speaking of painting, and comic reminded me of my talk about trying to get this comic published by a publisher house. And that talk of publisher houses reminded me of that guy whose name I can't remember that I was talking about. Let me look it up for you real quick. Now that I don't know if you guys are interested in him or knowing his work or knowing who he is even, but just for the sake of argument and reference, I'll search him up and put his and find out who the heck he is. It's Stepan Selic? Sejic. Stepan Sejic. Is that it? Yes, it is. Nice. I got it just halfway wrong. So is Stjepan, Stjaepan, Sejic, S with a little V on top of it, EJIC with a little accent on top of it. Stjepan Sejic is a writer and artist, a comic book artist and writer from Croatia. Who, known from his work on the series Witchblade, Aphrodite 9 or EX, I don't know, Sunstone and The Darkness, among others. And look at that, he's only 36. Oh, the young boy. So apparently he's been working with comics ever since 2006, if not before that.
It's a sin to tell a lie. Millions of hearts have been broken.
In 2007, Sejic signed up to draw the art for Witchblade from issue 116 to 150, the longest run of the series drawn by a single artist once completed. He also illustrated the Witchblade miniseries Firstborn and Broken Trinity and covers from the topical series The Darkness. He also cooperates with smaller publishers such as Arcana Studio and Dynamite Entertainment. Sergic is married to fellow Croatian artist Linda Sergic. Also, man, why does these people have to have such weird surnames, full of accents? Anyway, there you go. There's a Wikipedia article about the person if you wanna read more about them. But this is their Twitter, where you can see their works and drawings and whatnot. And as you can see, they really know how to make good looking comics. So there you have it. And the truth say you grew up seeing trains all the time, so you appreciate the train and all the details you are putting into it. Oh, thank you. Or you're welcome, one or the other. Tiger says your grandfather worked on the train, so you can as well. Oh. And Oni said constrict my esophagus to constrict airflow parental figure named Douglas. Oni, no, I will not do that. You need that airflow and blood flow rather going to your brain, so constricting it is very bad, Oni. So I will not do anything of the sort. Although, by looking at Stefans, I don't even know how to say his name. By looking at his art, makes me kind of wonder if I'm taking nice steps with the direction of the art I'm taking. Because in a way, I like how nice everything that I'm doing here is looking with this kind of hard-edged brush. So every edge here is very well defined and very good in the way that it really allows you to see what is going on and where it's happening. But I am so used to my old technique of techniques of using my blurring brush and simply throwing some blur on the areas and whatnot. It's pretty easy, fast to do, and it reaches very good results in a very small amount of time. So, and it's a technique that I already mastered, or maybe not mastered, but I really dominate and I'm familiar with. So yeah, I'm really pondering, like, I like how my thing is looking right now, but I wonder if making this change and trying something new is a safe bet, or if I should stick to what I know. That's one of the many harsh things about being an artist, is making these changes of what do I want my style to be, how do I want to present my work to people. Do I want it to be colored, black and white? Do I want it to be full of little details and a little things, or should I simplify it down and make it just more or less whatever-ish? Uh, a while ago, Nathan, he posted on Discord a video about this guy whose name I don't even know. He made a comic book, black and white, about, I don't even know what it is about. I just know that he made a comic and he made a video of 4-5 things I learned by making a comic, and then I said, well, sure, why not? Let's watch this and see what's up with it. And there he talked about a lot of things. One of the things he said is that he threw in ludicrous amount of works into each page, and how he should not have had done that because of how much longer that made the whole thing take to do. He was planning to finish the comic within 3 to 4 years, and he took 15 years to do it, or something of the sort. And he's like, no, I cannot take this long to do new comics, but it took me this long to do this comic for this and these reasons, and he explained it. And some of the reasons were precisely because he didn't budge on his art style. He said, you know, I'm gonna make this thing super duper complicated and full of little details, and little things that nobody's even gonna pay attention to. But I wanna do it. And then he did. And then he made a video talking about how it cost him too much time. So I don't know if I'm being wise in following this path. Anyway, maybe I can learn to do this faster. And Anatru says no amount of formality will get Doug to choke you, Oni. Oh, right he is. And Oni says for your wish, blood flow to your cerebral cortex should not have any circulation of red blood cells and oxygen, but be filled with carbon dioxide. Rega says Oni is getting really creative, like it's impressive. And Anatru says Oni might have been replaced by an evil Oni bot. And Oni says no, you're just smart. You act stupid and dumb to lower yourself. Don't do that then, Oni. Stop doing that rather. And yeah, no amount of formality or correct grammar is gonna save you from. It's gonna make me wanna do lewd things to you, Oni. In fact, I won't ever do anything lewd to you. So this is a steam engine. There's no steam engine without steam. Am I right? So I'm gonna do drawing some cloud of smoke going up here into the sky, because that's what those trains are known for, among other things. But this part thing here, I'm gonna do on another layer. On top of the line art, so it supersedes anything else I've drawn so far. But also, I have to look up some references on train smoke. Oh boy. Some of these pictures are majestic. Like, dog damn. Kinda makes you feel like they photoshopped the smoke into the train for some obscure reason. Because it looks so damn majestic. This is a new reference of train smoke. So it's not as black as I was anticipating. It's blackish, but there's a lot of white going on. So I have to keep that in mind. The color. Ooh, see, it blends a little bit with the sky, so that's dangerous. It does have some sort of a blackish outline. And Oni, you said you're actually smart. You lower your standards to make you guys understand. He wasn't asking for it to be lewd. He was asking for it to be 6 feet under and be pushing up daisies. What? What? Even are you talking about, Oni? The thing here with this brush is that it looks very painterly in a way. So long as you know more or less how to manipulate this brush, you can make some nice things pop out every now and then. It is very tricky though. Oh well. What can I say? I'm not a trained main. I don't know how to render smoke. So to see this train here, there's only one smoke output, but the other photos I have seen, there's smoke all around the train. So it's crazy. And I don't think it comes down laterally. I think it would come out upwardsly. I'm gonna make it like so, like this. Although the way it was before was kind of good because you could see the places around it. That was nice. Kinda nice. I don't know, what do you guys think? Just for safekeeping, let's go back to the way this one is. Copy it. Do this one. Paste it. That's why I have a backup in case this one doesn't look as good in the end. And as we saw from that reference picture, the smoke is very blackish when it comes out, but due to the whole combustion and shenanigans, but then it gets, so it does expels carbon dioxide and perhaps other harmful chemicals. But once it's out, once the smoke is out, it mixes up with the oxygen in the air and becomes less black and becomes more whitish until it mixes so much with air that it becomes completely transparent and becomes truly air. But not necessarily, it's still kind of CO2 and whatnot. So it's pretty much a white smoke with some spots of black here and there, mostly near the output. Okay, so this is the version I think looks better. But there's this previous one which is kind of sideways, so there's some more dynamics going on with it. And this is it. We finished the first page of Interdictor, my new comic. And as it happens, I'll be posting it later today on Patreon. These on the previous page. So hooray! We finished it, everybody. And then you say prime example, in other words, disease, eternal slumber, descendant, dead. You hate being smart and lewd, you wish you can be neutral and emotionless. Oh man. Don't be like that, only. On top of that, also, there's new things I think I should add to this picture here. Alongside with a new music I got a request. Okay, there we go. New music is queued up. Should be playing anytime now. And so the idea for this whole city thing is to be its own sort of living its own sort of industrial era. So I think there should be factories, quote unquote, in the city. So I'm also gonna make little pillars of smoke all around there. Okay, so for the background, I'm gonna add in a new correction layer, which is gonna make it look, which is gonna diminish the contrast but also increase the brightness, just like it should be. Same thing for the foreground, except that for the foreground, it's gonna increase a little bit the brightness and diminish a little bit the contrast, or should it increase the contrast? Just a little bit. Wee bit, and diminish the brightness, or increase it, diminish. Nah, let's just up the contrast a little bit. The train though, the train is gonna have all contrast. That beautiful baby train boy. So there we have it. Because I did go manually painting things, but I'm not 100% sure that my painting really gets the point across. You can always use these little adjustment layers to fill in some details or further drive home the point you were wanting to bring with whatever you were doing. In the case of the train, I wanted it to be more I wanted it to feel closer to the foreground, and one of the best ways to do that is by increasing the contrast between blacks and whites, and that's what I did here. Maybe a little bit too much. Yes. I feel this changes more down there in the wheels and the whatnot, not so much here up here. But anyway, adjustment layers, and now another layer for the smoke coming out of quote-unquote factories that are there that nobody can see, but there are factories to be had in there. That's how you know they're in an industrial era of their own. Let's look it up on Google. Industrial era landscape. There's some interesting pictures here on the wee old internet. I may load one of them up. One of the many pictures is this one that shows, you know, tall chimneys and smoke coming out of them, such as this one here. I'm gonna maybe what I'm gonna do is drawing some chimneys, some tall chimneys. Since the city is so much in the distance, I don't want to make this chimneys too tall or too thick, or else it's gonna be impossible to tell how far the city is truly into the distance. Maybe the chimney should come in here. That feels like more like an industrial district of sorts. So the chimneys are gonna be there, in the outskirts of city where the industrial district is.
Practicing piano and stuff, and not really any good at it yet, like at all. But I wrote you a song, and I was kind of hoping that I could show it to you because I worked really, really hard on it. So, yeah.
Okay, lots of little chimneys in there.
Every day I imagine a future where I can be with
So now I can just throw in lots of smoke going that direction.
In my hand is a pen that will write a poem of me and you. The ink flows
Also,
down into
when doing smoke, I gotta try my best to do sort of a circular motion.
his heart. But in this world of infinite choices, what will it take just to find that special day? What will it take just to find that special day? Have I found everybody a fun assignment to do today? When you're here, everything that we do is fun for them anyway. When I can't even read my own feelings, what good are words when a smile says it all?
Now we've done a lot of little factory chimneys in there. Let's throw in some white, kind of a white fog over the city, this direction at least. To further demonstrate how much pollution there is in there. Oh, those poor canine aliens.
Is it love if I take your is it love if I set you free?
I don't know if I got the if I got the effect I went for in this one. Thought it looks as good as I thought it would. What if I rotate it around and put it that direction? Nah. So I don't know, this doesn't look that good. Maybe it looks better with than without it. What do you guys think? Nonetheless, what have you guys been saying? 104 said that you're just stupid and lewd instead. Why? Oh wow, only how many songs have you requested? Why so many songs? Nonetheless, how are you guys holding up after 3.5-ish hours of streaming? I think I'm done with this page. There's nothing else I can think of doing here other than little minute details that I don't think I'll be doing. Because I think that, well, despite some things here and there, I think it looks pretty good the way it is. My plan was also to throw in the title somewhere around here. Kinda have the title of the comic around here. Then we'll also go like by Douglas Kim or something. And have the title of the comic up there or down here. I think up there is better. It looks better, both in this version and this version. This version doesn't, the things here don't look too contrasting. But yeah, I didn't do the chimneys in this bit there, so I'm not gonna have them here either. No chimneys for you. And for this one, I'm gonna have nothing else. I think this is good the way it is. The most it does need is some color in this train here. And also, Oni, why you're groaning so much? Is it because you cannot request more than 10 songs? Because I think you have already requested way too many songs, haven't you? I mean, it's gonna take a little while before the songs you requested are done playing. Just a thought.
There's the last of my songs.
And also, Bones, what's up? I thought you had left. Don't you see you're still here? What is up with you, young Bonesy? Are you also exhausted after having been doing illustration for almost 4 hours? Because I know I am somewhat exhausted. And I'm gonna finish up drawing these little windows in each of these train cards here. Then I'm gonna go out, procure some food, and do the other things that I do with my days. Namely, posting these pages around all over the internet. And also I'm gonna have to do the same chimney thing with this train. So let's get a smoke layer going on in here. And only you said there's the last of your songs. These songs are what show your mood, don't judge. And Bones, you said you did, but you're back and tired, doggo. I said, well, good for you, Bones. Bones said, well, was that sad, Sonny? You're hurt. Don't hurt, Bones. Neku said, Kim, I remember that I had a dream with you, but I don't know what it was exactly. And Bones says, I thought we could, love each other. And only said it was both a congratulatory and sass. What are you guys even going on about? Nonetheless, welcome back on Bones. Welcome back to the end of the stream. And you know what, Neku? You said that you had a dream about me and whatnot. And, I mean, whatever. The thing that I find the most weird is that a lot of people who I meet, in real life, in person, whenever we get like friendlier, they default to calling me Kim instead of calling me Doug or Douglas or whatever, or Dog or any of the D words. People default to calling me Kim, and I wonder why. Because that happens every single freaking time. Everybody calls me that. Not one person calls me by my name. My first name, rather. Or my second one. And I wonder why. I wonder if it has something to do with the person's personality or something. Because it also doesn't seem to be like everybody, but some sorts of everybody. Like people who are more sociable or people who have an easier time making friends, they seem to call me Kim. And the people who are not as friendly or don't have that easy a time making friends, they are the ones who call me Doug. So I wonder about that. And I lose sleep over that. Thinking of, why do people call me that? It's weird. Okay, now we have a train who's letting out some smoke and cruising towards the city. In this side cover, because this comic is gonna have true covers. Oh my dog. It's gonna have the... Well, I mean, this is not the cover. The fuck am I saying? This is gonna be the first page, the actual first page, but this is gonna be the back cover, so... When you open the comic and there's those, created by this person, edited by this person, what not, yada yada yada, this is where it's gonna go. It's gonna go here like, made with the help of these people. And then this is gonna be the actual first page of the comic. And we're done with it. What do you know? Took us forever, took us the entire morning, but we colored a train. And by color, I mean we throw in some values, because there's no color to be had. It's monochrome as fuck. And Neku says any of the D words. And Neku say you dick. And also Kim is way more rare than Douglas, to be honest. And Bone says that it's true. Or rather, you say it true. So people call me Kim because it's more odd than Douglas. I see the way it is. I see how it is. I see. But anyway, what do you guys think? This is the new page. It's done. It's done. It's done, Aziz. It's finally finished. And I can finally start this new comic that I have been talking to you guys so much about, and see where it goes, see how it works out, how people like or how people hate it, and where I'll be able to get this whole thing going. Hopefully to the moon. If not the moon, then somewhere in the ballpark of the moon. I don't know. And only says it's a formality since people use last names. Not here. Not here we don't. I mean, not like that. And Anatru says, looks great, why thank you. And Bones said, are you excited for this project? I don't know if excited is the right word. I'm looking forward to it succeeding. I do like I do like this whole idea. I do like this whole universe I have created for this comic. I like the possibilities that it will bring, and the comic in general. I like it, but I'm also slightly stressed about it because I have been thinking it up and cooking it up for so long, and it never saw the light of day. That I'm stressed about it because I don't know if it will succeed. Because if it doesn't succeed, if it tanks and people hate it, I will know that I have wasted a ludicrous amount of time of my life to this project that didn't work out in the end. And other than this comic, I have nothing else in the back burner. So if this doesn't work out, I have literally nothing else planned for the future. So I'm throwing, well, aside from streaming, so I'm throwing I'm betting all I have on this project, and that's make me slightly stressed out about it. But hopefully it will not tank, it will work out. So yeah, in the sense that yes, it does work out, then yeah, I'm hella excited for this project and I can't wait to do more of this. But if it doesn't, then oh shit. Things are gonna get slightly complicated. Yeah, this is it, everybody. And Oni says to talk to others they meet or be professional or respectful in conversations. And also, apparently I'm Dan. Welcome to the stream and thank you so very much for the follow. I hope you like it here in our little K9 pack. And by the way, welcome to the end of the stream because we're finishing this. And 104 says you don't waste time, you practice. Oh yeah, true that, 104. Except that, you know, this is not simply a practice, this is a project. And one I hope works. Because if it doesn't works, well, if it doesn't work, goddamn, it's gonna be crazy. But I'm confident. I spend way too much time thinking about it, and normally, I mean, I don't mean to brag, but so far 100% of all projects that I have started doing and posted up to the public have been met with positive reviews, like slash positive reactions from people. So far I have a good track record of doing things that people like being a part of, so I hope that this will be another one of those. And Bones, I said that you have this doggo support. Why, thank you, Bones. And one of course says thanks for streaming, and projects are practice, everything is. Yeah, true that. Hopefully it will not be just practice, it will also be fun and a success. But anyway, thank you guys so very much for being here with us today as we worked on this little slash big page, because it's the first page of this new comic and it's a huge step forward towards new uncharted grounds. So let's see how this goes, and hopefully it will go good. But anyway, for now, this is it. The stream is over and there's things, other things we gotta do with our lives now. Tiger said it was a good stream, Doug. I thank you, Tiger. I'm glad you guys liked it. But now it's time to say goodbye, because I have to go procure lunch, and then I'm gonna be posting this page around, doing those things that I normally do, so we will see how that goes. But there is the huge if and but of, like I said, Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out. Has come out today, so we'll be buying it and then installing it and eventually playing it. So I don't know how that will work out, but luckily it does work out good. And if it does, and if I have the time, I might be streaming tomorrow. Not sure about when tomorrow, but I might be streaming tomorrow, possibly later in the evening for me, so much later than now, but tomorrow. So I don't know. Nonetheless, we'll see how that goes, and if it does happen, I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. If not, I hope you guys have a lovely, amazing weekend full of delicious things, and I don't know what you guys do in your weekends, but hopefully good things. And other than that, how about we go and check out... God damn it. Goodbye, bot, why do you do this to me? Twitch, rather, why do you do this to me? Let's go and check out Seth Wolfbane, who is playing some of that delicious Slime Rancher, whatever that is. So, why don't you guys go check out Seth Wolfbane, give them a gigantic woof, tell that I sent you guys, and enjoy their stream. And other than that, also enjoy your days and your weekends, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Stay awesome, and bye-bye.